attitude with yet another episode. But for mostly, I want to thank you guys. I want to appreciate the number of views my uh, videos have got by the time you have devoted towards watching my content, towards watching my videos, towards commenting on my videos, liking my videos, and you know towards interacting with me. And it just overwhelms me, and it compels me to do what I love to. And yes, I will try my level best to share whatever things I have learned or will learn throughout the process. I'm actually grateful to you guys. Yeah. Today I will be speaking about a very common thing, and it is again perceived to be very bad, which is anger. Everyone knows about anger, right? And I want to begin this with a very stereotypical saying that that there's a difference of only one alphabet between danger and anger. If you go a step ahead of anger, you might land into danger. It becomes a dangerous situation. So we have, most of us would have come across this statement, but we don't really try to think in its reality. We don't feel, or we don't realize that this is actually true. It's just that it is something in our subconscious. We know it, we have heard it. If someone tells you, you'll say that yes, I knew this thing, but we just tend to forget this. So what is anger? It is again a state of mind. It is a state of mind in which a person loses his capacity to think rationally. He is in a state where it is a state where he tends to forget everything apart from his anger. It is a disease, I would say. It is not a state of mind. It is not only a state of mind, but it is a disease. It is a disease which plays with your head, which plays with your mind. But there is one thing for sure, that even if you try not to harm others, you harm yourself. In every scenario, if you are angry and you have reacted, if you have responded to your anger, it will definitely harm you. So there may be times when you express your anger, then you as well as the other person will get hurt. And if you repress it, then only you will get hurt. So in both the scenarios, it is you who will be hurt for sure. And that anger is very clever. It also plays with your head. It plays with your head. So if you feel, suppose if you are angry and if you feel that the other person is more powerful than you, then you don't tend to express it. You don't tend to express it in the way it is supposed to be expressed. But if you feel that the other person with whom you are angry is inferior to you, is less powerful than you, then you will express it in the rudest way. You might go on to even be physical with him because you believe that the other person will not harm you. But that doesn't happen when the other person is more powerful than you. Although it may happen with some personalities, because at that point of time, that anger overpowers you. It makes you think that whatever will happen in the future. But right now, your anger is the present. It is the most important thing for you at that point of time. So then again, you as well as the other person will land into a bigger problem. So this is how this anger works. But what should we do? How should we behave? How should we behave when we are angry? How should we behave when we are suffering from this disease anger? I'm telling you that it is a disease, but there has to be some medication also. There has to be a cure of anger. Otherwise, if you feel that expressing it only is the solution, then you will always try to solve it in that fashion. But no, that is not the real way to cure that disease. So you have three options when you are angry: either to express it, or to repress it, or the very interesting thing, observe it. So if you express your anger to others, it will harm you as well as the other person. If you repress it, it will harm you only. And if you observe it, it will not harm anyone. So suppose if you are angry and you are expressing, or if you have expressed it to the other person, he might be angry with you too. He might have something for you in his head. He might, he might uh, he might stop talking to you. He might try to end all the connections with you. That happens. In fact, I would like to tell you a story about this. About this first thing. So there was this man whose son was very angry. He was very short tempered. So, in order to teach lesson to his son, he asked his son to do a thing. So he gave his son some nails and a hammer. And he asked his son that every time you become angry, you have to punch in a nail in a wall. So on the very first day, he punched approximately 35 nails in that wall. He started feeling bad. That if a day consists of 24 hours, he's getting 35 times angry. He's getting more than once. So which means he's getting angry more than once every hour. So he started feeling very bad. But as he started keeping a check on the number of nails he was putting in that wall, that number started decreasing dramatically. He was very impressed. So a day came when he did not become angry even once. So, he went to his father very excitedly and told him that now this was the day when he did not become angry even once. So now his father asked him to, take out all the nails he had punched through this phase. So he drew out all the nails and he told his father, "See, I've done this." But then what his dad told him was very interesting. He told him that, "See, if you are angry, when you put a nail in someone's wall, it leaves a hole behind, and that hole can never be compensated. That hole will always be there. Suppose this is a wall, you can get it covered by doing something, but that is not. If you've hurt someone, compensating for it is not as easy as as it is to compensate for the holes in the wall. So this gives a lesson. So if you are angry with someone and if you express it to that person, that will create a hole in their psyche for you, and that is not something which can be compensated very easily. So we should try not to express it. So that leaves us with the other two options. The second one was to repress it. So should we repress it? No. Repressing it is not a solution, because if you repress it, you will harm yourself. And in fact, the magnitude of harming yourself will increase if you do not express it, because the magnitude, the intensity with which you were supposed to express it to the other person, will fall back on you. So when when that thing happens, that anger hurts you more. It intensifies. It beats you with a bigger magnitude. So that is also not an option. So what is the option? So we are left with only the third option, which is to observe. So now the question will be, what does observation mean? You should feel as if you are someone who is separate from your consciousness. Your body is something which is different from your anger. So now if anger comes to you, you must feel that you are separate from your anger. That will knock your door, but then you don't have to answer it. And this is something, if you start practicing this third approach towards anger, you will become a different person. Because that increases your willpower. That is an opportunity where you can keep a check on yourself. That is an opportunity where you can control yourself. So that is how one should deal with anger. Anger is bad, no doubt. It is bad, it will always be bad. And that is how it has been. If a disease exists, it is a disease. It will not be in any way something useful to you. But yes, disease also comes with an opportunity, because it gives it gives you a chance where you can be only with yourself. So in a similar fashion, if anger strikes you, it is your lookout, it is your perception towards anger, it is the way in which you deal with anger which will define you, which will define your willpower, which will define your strength. So that is how anger should be dealt. But firstly, we should try to stay away from anger. And how do we do that? So that is again a very different question, because anger emanates when you are in pain. Anger emanates when when you feel disappointed. So anger, the source of anger is expectations. The source of anger is desires. It would be very artificial to say that a person should be desireless. A person should be with no expectation. It is not possible. It is not humanly possible. As humans, we have been conditioned in a way where we'll always be desiring and expecting things from others. But we can improve our situation if we start taking these expectations and desires not as seriously as we take. Those have to be taken very joyfully. If in case that you desire for something, and if that desire is not as serious as it has been throughout, you might not feel as disappointed as you used to be. Because with disappointment, if the intensity of this expectation, if the seriousness of this expectation was very huge, then obviously that anger also has to be very extreme. So if this has to be taken joyfully, there would be no anger. And even if there is anger, it would be not as intense as it generally is. So that is how one should tackle with anger. That is how we should curb this disease, anger. That is how we can stay away from anger. It is not easy, I know. It definitely is not easy. It might be very easy to preach. It is just easier said than done. I know. I am preaching to you that you should not be angry. You should not take the expectations and desires as seriously. But we tend to do it. But if we start working on it, a day will come when we'll be in a much better state. Even when I was supposed to shoot a video on this anger today, I was angry. During my day, something happened which made me angry. I could not stop that anger strike me, but yes, when anger struck me, I tried to observe it. It was very hard. It was really very, very hard. But since I'm aware that this is how anger should be dealt with, I tried to deal with it in that fashion only. It was very hard, but the result came out very fruitful. I was disappointed because my expectations were not met, but they were met, in a much better way when I did not react or when I did not express my anger to the other person, who disappointed. In fact, that same person helped me do that thing. In fact, he fulfilled that expectation of mine in a much better way. So I felt yes, things would have been very worse if I had expressed it. Things would have been in a very different shape if I had expressed my anger, and in fact I know it very well that that expectation wouldn't have been met only. But now I was in a better state. It's just okay. So with anger comes an opportunity. With anger, there's a chance where we can work on ourselves, where we can improve, where we can be in a better state of mind, where we can anger is although a very natural thing, but if we manage to have a control over it, we can have a control over so many things. We can achieve the biggest things we have never even dreamt of. So that is something which happens with you on a daily basis. You become angry almost every day. So let's start working on our personality. Let's start working on our own self from within, because that change will be the change you'll never experience in some other fashion. Anger is just bad. It is bad, but it comes with an opportunity to improve. It comes with an opportunity to have a check. It comes with an opportunity to increase your willpower, your strength. It makes you more immune. It makes you, it makes you divine. Just imagine of a person who doesn't become angry. Just imagine how pristine his life would be. He would, firstly, he would try not to have some expectations, but in case he has some expectations, he would take it so joyfully that open his doors towards anger. He would stay away from anger. He would just observe the anger from outside, and that is how he must be curing it. That is how he must be curing himself from the disease. I hope this video has made some sense to you, and I hope that the perception of anger which I was trying to explain in this video has resonated with you. I hope you will try to work on it. I wish you try to work on it, because that change starts from ourselves. We have to be the change we want to see in this world. If you want this world to be a better place, a happy place, then firstly we need to be happy. And with anger you can be happy. I hope to make positive contribution in your lives. I hope I come up with an improved and better content and a better topic with every episode. Stay tuned for more such videos, and I'm really very grateful to you guys. Thank you for watching my video and giving your time. Thanks a lot. Forever grateful.